Till now, we have traced the rise of a fascist state in Italy under the behest of Mussolini. Now, we will be focusing on the impact that fascism had through its various policies. Now, initially, fascism came as a boon for Italy. To that, the policies of the fascist state must be commended, as they did bring forward many public welfare and economical developments. Starting off, Mussolini wanted to make Italy a stronger nation. And this he wanted to do by revaluing the currency or to make the currency stronger, as a stronger currency would bring Italy its relevance back. Now, how did Mussolini revalue the currency? A country's currency is based on the wealth that the country holds, which is known as the national wealth. And therefore, for a stronger currency, the national wealth had to be increased. Mussolini, therefore, made any possible cuts from reducing the wage of workers to increasing the taxes. This allowed more money to flow into the government's treasury, which in turn made a stronger currency. Now, the economic crisis that plagued Europe in the interwar period also led to a coal shortage. Now, we all know how important coal is, as it is the backbone of industries and it is important to generate the electricity required to run these industries. Now, how did Mussolini battle or deal with this? Mussolini looked at generating electricity through alternate sources, and therefore Mussolini facilitated the construction of hydroelectric dams and power plants, which were built to generate electricity, which would be combating the coal shortage. The fascist government also wanted to make Italy into a major agricultural nation, and therefore agricultural productivity needed to be increased. This was done by putting a lot of unused and private land under cultivation. Mussolini himself led this agricultural campaigning by participating in these cultivation campaigns, where he himself is to go and take part in cultivation, which was an encouragement for the Italians to take to agriculture. Mussolini also overhauled the entire transportation system of Italy by building roads, highways, and even better waterways. Now, all these projects and all these developments might seem like a boon for Italy and something done for the Italians. But in reality, historians acknowledge that the main aim of all these activities to make Italy into a stronger nation was to really fund the rapid militarization of Italy. A stronger currency would allow Italy to make military purchases. Having a better industrial system would allow Italy to quickly manufacture military supplies, and having a connected transportation system would mean that Italy could send its military reinforcements all around the country whenever it was required. Moving on to the next impact of fascism through its policies, the industrial development that took place in Italy at this time. Now, Mussolini firmly believed that industries and industrial development would be the vehicle to the economic prosperity of Italy, and therefore he focused heavily on making Italy into an industrial nation. This he did by introducing the concept of a corporate state or corporatism. Now, in a corporate state or a state following a corporatist ideology, the state has control over the industries through corporations. Now, in a corporate state model, private ownership of industries or businesses is still allowed, whereas in a communist ideology, private ownership is banned. Now, the difference between communism and corporatism comes right over here. While both ideologies believe in state control over the businesses and industries, corporatism allows the private ownership of businesses and industries. Therefore, to lead Italy towards industrial development, Mussolini, as I mentioned, introduced the concept of a corporate state. Now, this he did by putting forward a structure of 22 national corporations. These corporations were one for each industry. Therefore, 22 national corporations were 22 industries linked together. And in these corporations, the workers and employers had equal representation. Now, each of these national corporations had its own council. The council happens to be the working body or the executive body which makes decisions, which passes resolutions, whereas the national corporation itself is like a representative body which comes together, debates on issues, and then passes their consensus over to the council, which therefore takes the actual decision. Now, the councils of all of these national corporations were together constituted into a body known as the National Council of Corporations. Therefore, we see that all these 22 national corporations are coming under one body, one organization, one structure known as the National Council of Corporations. And who was heading this National Council of Corporations? Mussolini himself. Therefore, we can understand that the National Council of Corporations was like this apex body in the state which was making all the rules regarding the wages, the hours, and conditions of work. Imagine a parliament, but instead of having politicians in it, we are having industrialists and workers as a part of it. So it was like a parliament of industries, and it was a structure where while private ownership of industries is allowed, it all is under one structure, and that structure is being headed by the dictator Mussolini himself. Therefore, to make this structure even more clearer, let's understand that in a graphical format. At the head of the structure, at the head of the corporate state as Mussolini created, was Mussolini himself. Now, he was heading the National Council of Corporations, which is clubbing together 22 national corporations, one corporation for each important industry. Now, let us take one corporation out of this to understand even the further structure of it. Let us take the national corporation of, let's say, Industry X. Now, the corporation of the Industry X is further made up of syndicates. Now, what are syndicates? Syndicates are like non-political alliances. Now, there would be multiple syndicates for each industry. Maybe a couple of workers from one factory of, let's say, Industry X. Let's say Industry X is a textile industry. Now, of this is one factory located somewhere in Italy. And over there exists one syndicate, which is a couple of workers coming together and feeling that they need to work for each other's progress. And that is creating a syndicate. Now, syndicates could be made up of the workers of the industry. It could also be made up of the industrialists or the employers themselves. There could be countless number of such syndicates in one industry. What the national corporation of that industry is doing is clubbing together all these syndicates into one body, National Corporation of the Industry X. And the council of this national corporation and the council of every other national corporation, which means that 22 councils of the national corporations are coming together into the National Council of Corporations, the apex body, which is headed by Mussolini himself. This is the structure which is known as the corporate state of Mussolini. Now, can you answer this question? How many national corporations were there in total in fascist Italy? Were there 20 corporations? Were there 22 corporations? Were there 25 corporations? Or were there 21 corporations? The correct answer happens to be 22 national corporations. Therefore, in essence, what we understood of the corporate state ideology is that a corporate state is integrating capitalism itself with the state. That is making a corporate state. The political and the economic is coming together. The capitalist class, the workers, and the industrialists are coming together with the state, the political head. This is best described by Mussolini himself, who said that the definition of fascism is the marriage of corporation and state. And therefore, Mussolini contributed the corporate state ideology to be a core tenet of fascism itself. Now, all this might seem very structured and very ideal and must have brought much economic progress. Now, this is a disputed claim, Because many historians believe that in reality the corporate state structure was only to increase the power, strength and wealth of the industrialists, whereas the workers who were a part of the corporations and the National Council itself were not adequately represented. And even though they were a part of the National Council of Corporations or the national corporations itself, they did not have a majority and were thus not allowed to have much of a say regarding the discussions which concern them itself, the conditions of work, the rights of work, and also how much wage they would be paid. At the same time, Mussolini also took away the right to strike and right to protest from the workers. Therefore, the workers did not have any other avenue to really fight for their rights. And therefore, this entire corporate state ideology or model, while it might look very structured and idealistic, was in reality a weapon to oppress the workers of the country. Now, the policies of Mussolini and the fascist state were not just restricted to economic development itself. Some of the projects and policies were simply done to keep the people happy, and that comprises the public welfare system created by Mussolini. Now, Mussolini heavily invested in the transportation and connectivity of Italy, and these were improved by the new public work projects which he came up with. This included building new roads, better highways, better waterways, and even overhauling the entire railway system. Now, in this picture, you can see a magazine illustration which shows a fascist public work project where workers or laborers are working hard to make a road through the mountains. Now, apart from keeping the people happy, the public welfare projects also had another objective. It was to generate employment for the people of Italy. Now, if you remember, in the interwar period, unemployment was a big issue. And therefore, these public work projects or public welfare projects also brought in the employment opportunities for the youth and for the people of Italy, which would help them alleviate their sufferings. Similarly, new schools, colleges and libraries were also built as part of the public welfare campaign, which were to eradicate illiteracy and to promote education among the masses of Italy. That is not all. Finally, in the year 1925, Mussolini came up with this elaborate program known as the Fascist Public Welfare Program. This included everything from food support, maternity assistance to the mother and child, old age support, healthcare, then insurance of all kinds, from general insurance to insurance of occupational hazards. Then you also had unemployment support to people who did not get any employment. There was public housing involved, which built houses for the public who could not build a house on their own, and many such similar public welfare projects all were clubbed together by this program known as the Fascist Public Welfare Program. Now, all this seems too good to be true. That is because it came at a price. While these projects did provide the people with these assistances and supports and the benefits, the people had to give away their liberties and freedom. Now, do you think it is a fair trade that you can get all these benefits, but in return, you will have no right to have your own opinion, you will have no right to have your own freedom, and in simple terms, you will have no liberty of your own? It indeed wasn't a fair trade. That is why the public welfare projects, idealistic as it might be, could not make up for all the oppressive policies of the fascist state. Now, moving on to a core impact of the fascist state on Italy, and a policy which really was the benefactor behind all the other policies we discussed, which is the improvement or the renewing of the military strength of Italy. Now, Mussolini was obsessed with the concept of ancient Rome, and he wanted to have the might and strength of the Roman Empire at its peak. But for that, he knew that he had to renew the military strength of Italy. And therefore, when he came to power, he made military training and compulsory service mandatory to retain Italian citizenship. A person who therefore would not undergo the compulsory service period and the compulsory military training would lose their Italian citizenship. Now, is it not ironical that Mussolini was a person who ran away from Italy to Switzerland to avoid military service. But when he comes to power, he makes the very same thing compulsory. Now, if you remember, Mussolini did have his own private army, the Black Shirts or the Squadristi, which was the loyal force that helped him capture or seize power. Now, once he did come to power, Mussolini did not forget about the Black Shirts, and instead he absorbed the Black Shirts into the Italian army and gave many of them the leadership of key battalions of the Black Shirts. Therefore, we can understand that Mussolini made sure that the Italian army would be in able hands and also would be loyal to Mussolini forever. Now, over here we can see Mussolini marching past his able men in the Italian army, an army which he now wanted to renew and make even more stronger. Now, the Italian army was not the only thing which received attention from Mussolini. Mussolini also wanted to restore the position or even make the Italian navy a better force to reckon with. And therefore, Mussolini made sure that the Italian navy received necessary funding and attention to bring it at par with the other European powers. Now we can understand that the Italian navy before the First World War and even during it was not much of a force to reckon with. But Mussolini wished to change that because he wanted to bring back the glory of the ancient Roman navy, by the help of which the Roman Empire was able to capture the entire Mediterranean region itself. That is what he wanted to do with his new and improved navy. Mussolini therefore wanted to have an Italian or better Italian control on the entire Mediterranean region, which includes Eastern Europe, Northern Africa and other nearby states. Now, Mussolini himself put forward the vision that he had for a militaristic Italy. He said the following thing: words are very fine things, but rifles, machine guns, warships, warplanes and cannons are still finer things. They are finer because right without might is an empty word. And therefore we can understand that Mussolini believed in right with might, and therefore he would do anything to attain real power, which is military strength. So in this lesson we started off by reviewing the many important policies under the fascist state undertaken by Mussolini, and we also came to an understanding as to what the impact of those policies were on the Italian state itself. In the subsequent lecture, we will be continuing this discussion and then coming to an overall conclusion as to what the overall impact of fascism was on Italy. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. You can also register for free at DeltaStep.com or download the DeltaStep app to learn one-to-one with our amazing teachers, or to get access to all our 5,000 plus amazing videos as per your school syllabus. Master each topic with our adaptive practice technology. Get million plus questions with step-by-step solutions and unlimited mock tests. Get all your doubts resolved instantly. Learn via games and win amazing prizes like PlayStations and iPads. So at DeltaStep, learning is not just fun and easy, it is rewarding too. So register for free now.